Yes, you're bang on, right? So it's not a see, it's the digital real estate that you actually showcase you as a professional.
Welcome to Simple Career. In today's video, we will talk about LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn as a platform is a social networking platform. It's a platform where you can actually connect with different individuals. People join LinkedIn with one simple goal. They want to grow in their career. That's the simple goal which every single person has when they join LinkedIn. So for this, you need to make sure that you have a strong LinkedIn profile. And for that reason, today our guest is Siddharth, who is a regional sales head at LinkedIn. He's going to provide us valuable tips on how can you grow and develop your LinkedIn profile. So make sure you subscribe to watch more of similar content and do like the video if you find it useful. So without any further ado, let's welcome Siddharth Ajmera.
Sure thing, Nikhil. Looking forward to this conversation.
Now, LinkedIn at its core is a professional networking platform. So, what are your tips on networking when it comes to LinkedIn?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. LinkedIn is a professional networking platform, right? So, the vision of LinkedIn is to create an economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. And as a member first organization, we want professionals to really understand the value proposition which brings onto the table, right? So it gives an opportunity to go and find like-minded professionals. You can go and let's say if you're an entrepreneur and if you want to sell something to them, it's an opportunity to go and connect with them, right? If you are someone who is in your career and finding the next opportunity, it essentially gives you an opportunity to go and find that individual who on the other side is looking for the talent. So yes, there are multiple ways in which you can use the platform or leverage the platform, right? So, but how do we effectively network? Which is the crux over here. I have seen a lot of professionals do it the other way around, but let me share what works really the best. Right? In this digital era, right, when your information which you have is essentially out there, right? Everybody may have your phone number or an email ID, and you're getting ton of those cold calls, right? And think about you are in a meeting and you get a cold call, right? It essentially means that you're not going to engage with that profession again if that he or she reaches out to you. How do we change this? By really understanding while looking at their LinkedIn profile, what is Nikhil interested in, right? And maybe if I can strike a chord with Nikhil by giving him certain information, that's where the role of networking comes into play. You really don't walk up to someone and actually start a conversation. I mean, yes, essentially that is networking, right? But when in the social world, when we have met them, it's when they are not in front of us, how do we get their interest peaked? So, one of the key things which I feel, if you're sending a connection request to someone to talk about a certain, let's say, a mutual interest or something which you essentially can bring onto the table as a value to the other member, and which is where you'll see a very successful conversion of your connection requests as well. One of the common things which I see a lot of people do on the platform is send you a connection request. They haven't met you, they don't know you, you don't know them. Why will I accept your connection request, right? So yeah, if you're sending connection requests, do personalize it. It always helps. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to LinkedIn, people often say that you need to have a great profile. So, what does a great profile exactly mean?
Yeah, let's build on to this one, right? So when you talk about a LinkedIn profile, uh, what essentially we mean by that, and why it is so important, right? So first, let's understand why it is important, right? To for anything before you do, I think why should be very clear. Now, LinkedIn essentially becomes your only digital real estate which one gets, where they can really showcase to the open world like what do they do in their career, right? It's not a resume or a CV which one may have on a job portal, but it's essentially a place where you really go and talk about what do you do in your working life, right? What are the professionals you engage with? What are the projects do you work on? And what are some of your essential skill set which you would like to showcase to the world out there, such that either one, you build those relationships and one you can learn. Second, uh, how do you go and get your next opportunity as well? Having understood why this is important, probably, right? Because I can spend more time on this, but I think this essentially caters to why one should have a profile or one should have an access to something like LinkedIn. Let's talk about what essentially goes in building a profile. Now, since we do understand that it is a platform which one gets to showcase what kind of work they do, it also is necessary that one does not talk about or does not build their LinkedIn profile as a CV, right? It essentially is an opportunity to really showcase what do you do in your work, right? Yes, keywords do matter, right? Because essentially, when people are looking out or when recruiters are searching for those profiles, you need to have those keywords, but not essentially like you may have on any other career website, right? So uh, it essentially helps you to go and really break down your profile in terms of what really matters to the other person when they're looking at. Right? So, having a professional picture, I think that's one of the key to showcase that, hey, you're really serious about your business on the platform. Second is to go and have a brief about your summary, like what do you do in your work, right? Not essentially giving a chronological way of explaining of what you have, what career path which you have gone through, but essentially what are some of the things which drive you, right? What is the value which you bring on to the table? So maybe a crux about that. A summary can be in around 50 to 100 words, maybe more in terms of on the depth of the experience which one wants to build on. And then you can showcase the current work which you may be doing, or also showcase what are some of the great companies that you have been a part of. It essentially also is a platform where you can ask for recommendations from either your customers or the people which you have worked with, or the collaborators in your organization, which essentially vouch for your work. Right? So recommendations is one of the key things. Also, showcasing your education qualifications as well, right? And there are a lot of roles where you do need those kind of qualifications. Which essentially also showcases, helps you go and build that path as well. So, yeah, these are some of the basic building blocks that one needs to have that right profile, I feel. Yeah.
In terms of job search, what are your recommendations on how one can actually search for new opportunities on LinkedIn?
Essentially, LinkedIn today is a platform where I see uh, all the organizations who are looking to hire are out there on the platform, right? So, and it essentially also is a point to find out. Let's say if you're a job seeker and you know of an organization which is hiring, then LinkedIn essentially becomes a platform to find the right connect. Having found the right connect, how do you reach out to them? So instead of just sending them a connection request, we have talked about this in very much in detail, to have something which you bring essentially on the table and then reach out to them. A lot of people also don't know that the jobs feature work really the best, right? So, two things. One, you can showcase that you're open to job and you're open to looking out for a change. If you just go to your career section or the job section, there is a radio button which you can toggle on, which will essentially tell the recruiters that, hey, this professional is looking for a job. You can also mention what kind of location preferences you have, what kind of industry preferences you have. This is taken into consideration when you get to see those jobs which are targeted to you, right? So, uh, yeah, I think there are a number of ways. Either when you reach out proactively, at the same time, in a more of an automated way, when you want jobs to come to you, these two things which one should definitely do on the platform.
Now, when someone is looking for a new opportunity, what is the ideal time they should spend on LinkedIn? What are your thoughts on that?
Spend as much time as possible. But I'm sure that's not what you're looking for, right? So rather than limiting just to time per se, I think that one really needs to understand that LinkedIn being a networking platform, or it's actually a social media platform where uh, you can really learn on the platform, whether it's your industry, whether the leaders which you want to go and follow, whether the companies which you really want to go and work for them. It essentially gives you all this information in a nutshell, right? So rather than just the amount of time one spends, it is really important to understand what are we looking for instead of just mindless scrolling, which we often do in these social times. Uh, this platform actually helps you to put a lot of things in perspective. If you're really envisaging a career within an organization, do find out what are they talking about on the platform. Well, do they have an employee value proposition which they talk about? Does it align with your goal? Try and learn from that. Once you have all of these information, you are actually equipping yourself to have that meaningful conversation when you go and reach out to that recruiter, right? So whether if you apply for a job and you get a call from them, so that's how I used LinkedIn. I've been a member of the platform since 2007. And this was early days in my college, and one of my seniors who was pursuing his MS, and I used to look up to, I still look up to him in terms of how he has been building his career. And he talked about this platform. I said, hey, let me go and try. I was just in college back then, and I built my profile on the platform. And from there, I do see that how it has added value to me as a member, as a professional, right? I got my first dream job with Salesforce.com through LinkedIn. Right? And I was just 3 years into my sales career. And I kept on that this is one of the organizations which I would love to work for. I found those mutual connects, asked for a referral from one of my friends to help me go and mutually introduce to this person who's looking out for those kind of sales professionals, which is when I made my first move into the cloud world. So yes, I'm really thankful to the platform for giving me the opportunity, but at the same time, I do feel that it's not about the time; it's about the engagement which you have on the day. Like, can you have a meaningful conversation? For that, you need to spend time and really understand a lot of things. So that's an overall how can one really leverage the platform.
Now, like you previously mentioned, you need to have a more of a personalized touch towards your approach. So, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Because what happens is that on LinkedIn, when someone is actively looking for a job, they often tend to copy paste the same message and send to every single person they know. So, can you elaborate more on how the approach should be to have the maximum output when you're looking for a new job?
Again, building on to that, right? So, uh, with being a professional networking platform, right? And if you reach out to someone, go with a purpose. Go with some kind of a value which you bring on it, rather than just asking for something. So first, it's always give and then pay, right? So I would recommend that professionals who are looking for a job essentially always bring something on the table which can help them get that first conversation. They may not have, and let's say I do understand. Now I have been in this situation, And I have committed this mistake very early in my career, where I've done this thing. Right? I don't shy away from talking about it because that has helped me learn. The key things also to know is somebody is accepting your connection request in good faith, right? Uh, in that case, try and uh, probably share something which can be helpful to the other person. At the same time, if you can get a warm introduction through a company connect or someone who you know at an organization with the right stakeholder always works the best, right? Or finding or going and applying to the jobs. Once you've applied to the job, maybe finding the recruiter in that organization and follow the same steps of having a social connect before you actually reach out to them and ask them about an opportunity and what's happening on your profile. Is having that meaningful conversation with the other person will really help.
And finally, Siddharth, one final advice which you would want to give to every single person who is on LinkedIn trying to look for a new job or trying to look for a new career opportunity, what would you advise them?
Sure. Yeah. See, whether you are looking out or just starting a career or in your midst of a career, learning is a very essential piece which one should possess. And LinkedIn as a platform, it's just not your normal career website, right? It also gives an opportunity to go and upskill and reskill yourself. With the way of LinkedIn learning solution which is out there, I think I can recommend this to everyone. While you are in the search of finding the next opportunity or you're happy in your current job, do spend some time in terms of essentially building on to your career skill sets as well, right? So I think that would be my piece of, let's say, suggestion which somebody else shared with me, and I keep doing that. If you're not learning something every day, I think you just need to take a pause and reflect, right? So learning, I would say that's key things that every professional should be picking up on.
So guys, I do hope you have taken enough valuable tips on how can you grow your LinkedIn profile. And if you did, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video, and I'll see you all in the next video.